Big VTV, great to have you with us. Middle of the week, Wednesday night, as we gear up for round 5. Gee, the weeks have gone by. Steve Chalmers and Craig Freeman with me at the desk. And tonight we are looking at the top 5 import guards in the Big V over the last 10 years. It's a big job.
Female guards.
Female guards, male tomorrow night. And I tell you what, it's a hard job because as we've gone through this process, the majority of imports that come into the Big V competition to play in women's teams are forwards. There's actually not that many guards.
And there's a lot of brilliant Australian guards, which means there's less need for import guards to come in.
This was easily, we're doing female guards tonight, male guards tomorrow, and then next week we'll look at the forwards. But this was easily the toughest one to do, Steve-O.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of female imports that come into the competition are bigs, used for their size, rebounding
Forwards,
presence.
we call them, Steve-O.
Forwards,
right.
bigs, centres, whatever you like, talls. Some serious, definitions going on there.
Yep.
But finding those guards that really excelled, tough to find, but there is a very, very good group that we're about to highlight tonight.
And even when we looked at all the imports, guards and forwards, male and female, the ones that you just simply cannot ignore, there were a few that came on in one season and just burst onto the scene and dominated for one season and then were gone.
And it was so good.
Okay.
It was so good we couldn't leave them off the list. The other issue was us trying to figure out who's a guard and who's a forward. There was discussion around a few players
very
there.
good debates there, wasn't it?
Okay, all right, fair enough. One of us coaches, 2 of us don't. So anyway, let's move right along.
2 of us know what we're talking about, 1 of us don't.
Clearly. Okay, top 5 female imports, guards, over the last 10 years. Start us off.
No particular order.
No particular order. Start us off, Steve-O.
Well, the first one comes from Southern Peninsula. Spent a couple of years down there, and that's Britt Carter.
Very good. Very good. Did everything. Filled the stat sheet every week. Was a true leader down there.
Defensive menace. Too.
Yeah,
Yes. A handful of steals every game.
Up there in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I think both her years. Could do it on both ends too. And really, in that second year, she was carrying that team. They had some injuries, and it was just her and a bunch of young players, and they still managed to scrap their way to a good season.
And look, if she was a local, chances are she would have been playing WNBL, to be honest with you. Obviously, they've got restrictions there with how many imports.
Fair point there.
Look, very, very good. That's a great start, really good start. Let's go to player number 2, and it's a player close to my heart. Came in and played one season, but just dominated, scooped all the awards, led the team to a championship that season back in 2013. Was a very, very, she was a ripper of a person, just fitted in seamlessly. And was hard to stop. I think led the team on an 18-game winning streak or thereabouts to go on and win the championship. And that's Steph Thomas, who played for the Warrandyte Venom in 2013. She was a brilliant player to watch.
Yeah, just a shade under 27 and 4, 3.8 steals per game. Did it on both ends of the floor, and one of those players that only played the 1 year but was so good that we just couldn't leave it out.
And when games were tight, especially during the final series, at periods during games, you just simply said, get the ball to Steph.
There's certainly no bias in this selection.
No. I did demand if she wasn't there, that's it. I'm done after 9 years. But no, Steph Thomas, absolutely. Speaking of Thomases, who's next on the list?
Ariel Thomas, another person now at the club that you're at now.
Yes, very good player.
Absolutely brilliant player. Nearly averaged a triple-double last season, as we've talked about. Again, has come back, and she's a superstar of the competition, can do it on both ends. And again, one of those players that didn't have much help around her, but just manages to get her job done every season.
Light it up.
Can I mention too, in her 3rd year now in the Big V, that's a big deal in terms of imports sticking around. You usually, potentially can get your 2nd year. You've done extremely well. Going to your 3rd year plus, you're a legitimate.
It means you're not just good on the court, you're great off the court as well if the club wants to bring you back again.
I think for some reason, I'm just thinking back over 10 years, more so for women. Like there's some men that have stuck around, played for a while, become naturalised or permanent residents. Actually, on the women's side of Big V, there's actually
because we've got a couple that come up that we'll see in the next show. There's a few men that have stayed along a little longer, but the women, if you've made it over 2 years, you've broken a barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's 3: Britt Carter, Steph Thomas, and Ariel Thomas. No relation, those two. Who's next, Steve?
Championship winner back in 2015 through Division 1 circles. Got Whittlesey up into state championship women.
Very good.
She went by the name of Nene.
Yes.
I think she won the most valuable player for the year.
She won everything.
Kamitra Hayden from the Whittlesey Pacers.
Was just a dominant force. Another one of those players where, if in doubt, something's not going right, just give Nene the ball and she'll come up trumps. That's a very good selection. And probably a little bit like Steph Thomas, that's one of those players that has come in for a year and just slapped the competition silly. She was a very, very dominant player that season. So that's 4. Who's the 5th?
Another player that broke the mould a little bit and stuck around a few years, started off in Southern Penn for a year, finished off
I know who you're talking
in
about.
Chelsea.
Is it the Reverend?
Jasmine Lovejoy.
Yes, the Reverend, absolutely. She was a delight to watch. And again, a fantastic leader. Put up some big numbers. And as you said, what was it, 3 to 4 years?
Yeah, so 3 years at Chelsea, 1 at Southern Penn.
The Reverend, yeah. Look, that's a very good list, Stevo.
And she did it through all competitions from memory. I think,
they
as you
jumped up.
said, started at the Sharks, did really well at state championship women, went to Chelsea. They started in Division 2 women.
Yeah, I think she played D2 and
won a
D1,
championship there. Went with the girls in D1 and just produced at all possible levels.
The Reverend, I like that. So there you go. So our top 5 female import guards over the last 10 years. And there's some rippers that we've missed. Don't worry about that. And I'm sure that you'll list them down on the Big V Facebook page. But we've gone with Britt Carter, Steph Thomas, Ariel Thomas, no relation.
No.
Nene Kamitra Hayden, who just started out at Whittlesey for a season. And of course, the Reverend Jasmine Lovejoy. I think that's a pretty good 5. I think you've done well, fellas.
Yeah, cheers. That's the first bit of
That's a compliment
you've ever given us.
I had nothing to do with
Good
it.
stuff.
Okay, back at the desk tomorrow night. We're going to be sitting right here, and we are going to flick the switch and go with the top 5 male import guards over the last 10 years. And I've got to tell you, it was a heated debate to get to the final 5. But more on that tomorrow night on Big V TV. We'll see you then.